Thanks for coming out. This is really nice. We missed you guys last year, so it's really good to see you back in the crowd. I really appreciate the support. We're going to scrimmage, right? We're going to just play 2 little 10-minute scrimmages for you. I'm going to have my rookies. We don't give rookies, we don't call them by their name, we just call them rookies. I'm going to have the rookies come out and introduce all the players. Rookies, come on out. But before we do, Matisse, I need you for a second. So before we do, what our players just did was warmed up. So we want the fans to warm up too. So I want you to hold the mic you're my assistant, all right? I want this side to stand up. Everybody stand up. And this is gonna be a simple drill we're gonna do, all right? So whenever I cross my hands, you have to clap. That's all you have to do. Can you follow directions? So if I do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, I didn't cross my hands. See, this is what the players do. You ready? Let's do it again. See? But can they do it better? Let's get up, let's go. You ready? Let's go. Thank you guys. Rookies, you guys ready? Let's go.
What's going on? Jaden Springer here. Hey, first up, we got Isaiah Joe. We got Matisse Starbull. My boy Ferk Korkmaz. Tyrese Maxey. Paul Reed. And we got big fella, Andre Drummond.
Huge roar for the MVP candidate. What about Danny Green? That's Aaron Henry and Charles Bassey introducing the white team. Sam Cassell is going to coach the white team. Grew up right down the highway down 95 in Baltimore. And it looks like Brian Adams, who headed up the Sixers Summer League team in Vegas, is going to coach the blue team. But again, welcome to our stream on whatever platform you happen to be taking this in. Tom McGinnis, the radio voice of the Sixers, along with Matt Murphy, a team reporter for Sixers.com and the voice of the Bluecoats. And Matt, just a great afternoon. We've been in 1,000 gyms, but none with the light of this facility. It's just a beautiful field house, and it'll be fun here this afternoon.
It's great to be back, Tom. It's great to be with you, and for a season in which the Bluecoats were unable to play in this building, to have the Sixers representing and the fans to have a chance to watch this year's Sixers team in the preseason up close and personal with the sun shining through. It doesn't get much better. It's just like a G League game when you can be close to the court, relatively speaking, and see these guys who are so talented put on a show.
Right, the staff here, Larry Milai, the Bluecoats president, and Alex Show. This is quite a baptism for the 21-22 campaign, and like you say, they didn't have fans here last year, and then for the first event to be chock full like this. There was a limit due to the COVID restrictions on the number of fans that could be here, but they were lined up early this morning to come in and watch the Sixers scrimmage.
Tickets sold out quickly. It's about 1,500 tickets that were sold for the 2,500 seat venue. The changes to the lineups that the Sixers rolled out for the preseason game number 2 against Toronto is that George Niang slides from what was the blue team in practice to the starting group that started against Toronto, and then Paul Reed, B-Ball Paul, is in with Andre Drummond, Furkan Korkmaz, Tyrese Maxey, and Isaiah Joe.
So Drummond and Embiid in the center jump circle, the newly painted court here. And Maxey with the ball against Shake Milton. They've split time at the point, each one starting one of those games against Toronto. Sixers winning Thursday and losing Monday at the Scotiabank Arena. Isaiah Joe into Drummond, and a great feed and an easy slam for Drummond.
Andre Drummond, a guy that says he's willing to take on any role. He has a good relationship with Doc Rivers, and he's very excited to play for Doc Rivers in Philadelphia this season.
So the white team to Niang, who's really shown proclivity to hit that 3-ball, misfires there. But Maxey will bring it up. Tyrese Maxey now in his second year after the one season collegiately at Kentucky. Motion offense for Blue. Here's Joe with a 3. No, Embiid with the rebound, and they'll bring it across again. 2 10-minute halves, so it's actually going to go pretty quickly. At halftime, we'll hear from Lauren Rosen, who interviewed the new Bluecoats head coach, Kobe Carl. We'll hear about that in intermission. Miss for the white team. Drummond with Embiid. Backs up and shoots a 3 at the break. No good, but Isaiah Joe with it. Lob play, and Paul Reed with a 2-hand jam.
Isaiah Joe and Paul Reed, 2 rookies last year who played some G League action, but not in this building, getting their first taste of the field house as the G League had a single-site season in Orlando that the Bluecoats reached the championship.
Curry with a nice flip behind the back to Embiid, and Joel with a casual wing jump shot. And we have a 4-2 score. As Korkmaz, both teams playing motion offense, 5 out. Drummond with a cross-court skip. Here's Korkmaz from deep, short. Curry on the move. Cross midcourt, he's got Niang on one side, and in the corner, Danny Green. Seth calls his own number, rims off, no good. He had a great night on Thursday, flying in 4 different three-point made field goals. Furkan easy there. Danny Green kind of let him coast in, and that makes it a 6-2 score with the blue team in front.
Three-point volume's been a talking point. They made 18 in the second preseason game against the Raptors the other night.
Pick and roll with Embiid and Curry. Drummond busts it up momentarily, and then Embiid right down the lane with a layup that rims off. Nary a whistle so far. These are the referees that work the Sixers practices. Joe from deep, and that's good from Newcastle.
I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of Isaiah Joe three-point attempts coming in. He was 7 for 12 in the first 2 preseason games from 3. That's unbelievable.
That gives the the blue team a 7-point lead. Here's Milton for 3. That's around and out. Paul Reed will bring it across from DePaul. Reed will enter his second professional year. Drummond hits the glass on a pass intended for Korkmaz. Milton going the other way. And Niang with a layup for the white team. So the team did sort of practice earlier today. A little bit of conditioning with the three-man weave. They went over some plays, some defensive drills. And so they are kind of almost like an all-star game here, an exhibition with the blue-white scrimmage presented by Ticketmaster.
Couple fan favorites connecting there, Tyrese Maxey and Paul Reed. A little no look from Maxey there.
Niang expected to really produce for the Sixers. The outside shot, no good. Blue team up by 7, 11-4. 6:15 to go in the first, and this would be the half. Reed with a deep shot, no good. Milton to Niang to Green. And Danny Green in front of Sam Cassell and the white team. Embiid for 3, and that's around and out. Embiid saying he's going to shoot more threes this year. Here's an easy run out for Curry. He's going to stop at the line, though, and fire for 3, and that's no good. Drummond for the corner 3. Andre Drummond with the outside touch. And a timeout taken by Sam Cassell as it's a 10-point game, 5:35 to go. Sixers still with some season ticket plans available. You can call 215-339-7676. Log on to the Sixers website, or excuse me, find out more on the Sixers website, but tickets for the games at the center available, and tickets here as well.
Isaiah Joe to Andre Drummond, who's been inside and outside in this one, stepping back for 3 most recently, but going up top. He's had his team out to a nice little lead here in the early going. The blue team making a statement so far. Tom, we've heard blue versus white all training camp. The teams are mixed up a little bit today, but some of the reserve players are out to a 10-point lead.
Andre Drummond, of course, in position to be arguably the best backup the Sixers have ever had behind Embiid. Dwight Howard was really efficient last year, but Andre Drummond, man, at 31, he still has a lot left in the tank, you would think.
Shake Milton said Andre Drummond impressed him with his passing ability, which we should see on display in a setting like this. Shake said he didn't know that Andre, who's now in his 10th year in the league, could pass that well. It actually caught him off guard in a bad way at first, but now that he knows that it's coming in a lot of different ways on opposite teams here this afternoon. But Drummond can do a little bit of everything at his size.
He's got speed. He's always been a guy who steals the ball for a big man, too. I think Sixers fans are going to love Andre Drummond. So out of the timeout, let's see what the white team has crafted. Danny Green in the corner, trying to get Embiid involved in a screen roll with Milton, and Joe out to Curry. Curry, ball fake, dribble move, pull up 17-footer. At the last moment has to pass it. They swing to the corner. Danny Green, and that's his spot right there.
Danny Green will enter the 2020-21 season 42 threes away from 1,500 for his career, which is top 20 among active NBA players.
Makes it a 7-point game. Under 5 to go. Korkmaz all the way back out top. Joe letting Green slide by from the top. 3 off the front. No Jaden Springer in the game for blue. Back out to Furkan, and from Turkey Town, a triple by Korkmaz. Makes it a 10-point game. We've seen a preponderance of threes. Curry around Embiid with a left hand, takes it all the way in with the underhand scoop off the window. So 17-9, the white team trailing. And now Danny Green with Milton and Curry and Niang. George for 3, and that's no good. Maxey pulls it down with Springer, Joe, Drummond, and Korkmaz. Paul Reed out of there for, again, 2 10-minute halves. Danny Green traveled with it. Oh, we get a whistle and a foul. Again, these guys referee practice routinely, and the only one that I know for sure, it's Andre Iguodala's brother, Frank.
Oh, wow.
Native of Springfield, Illinois, one of the officials, as Drummond goes out and Paul Reed comes back in.
Paul Reed, of course, the MVP and Rookie of the Year in the G League for the Bluecoats last season in the G League bubble. They'll open their season on Saturday, November 6th, here at the Fieldhouse against the Long Island Nets, this year's edition of the Bluecoats.
The Yang can't get it to go, and the Sixers will play Monday. They'll host Brooklyn, the parent club of the Nets. Curry with a steal, run out 3-on-1. He slides it ahead to Seth, and Seth will lob to Embiid. And a beautiful play there with the alley-oop off the glass.
Showtime.
Tightens the gap to a single-digit deficit. Joe for three, and increases the blue team lead to 11, 22-11 with yet another three.
Last night, Isaiah Joe posting some snaps from the 76ers training complex in Camden after 11 p.m. He was getting some work in. It's benefiting him this afternoon in the blue-white scrimmage.
Time-stamped, huh? Here's Embiid into the lane, out to Niang. George Niang for three. Boy, I watched him shoot earlier today. He really gets his right hand. He's a dominant right-hand shooter way underneath the ball. Korkmaz into the lane. All the way back out top to Maxey. 22-14. Springer to Furkan in the corner for three, and that's good. Quick strike triple there.
A lot of threes going up, including from Korkmaz, who has gotten inside for some layups as well. If you haven't seen his interview with Lauren Rosen, definitely check that out as Embiid joins the party from deep. But Furkan tested out his reporting skills impersonating Lauren Rosen from our team recently.
Very funny. Quick action. Both teams heating up a little bit here. Maxey weaving in on Embiid, spins it off the glass, but won't stay down. Joel taps it out to Milton. It's a 10-point game with 1:50 to go. Shake goes the length of the court to put it in.
He is someone who has played in this building. In his career, 33 G League games, 11 of which with the Bluecoats were played here in Wilmington.
Korkmaz to Maxey. Maxey with a step back from the dotted circle, and that's it. Of course, the proximity between Philadelphia and Wilmington behooves the G League component of the Sixers organization with the Coats. 10-point game. It's 29-19. Embiid and Curry. Their team is trailed throughout. Paul Reed trying to put a body on Joe. Embiid dropped it. And the clock expires on the Danny Green three. Maxey with Korkmaz and Joe. Isaiah Joe ahead in the corner. Furkan goes to Joe, and the second-year guard from Arkansas can't get it to go. Danny Green with it. Under a minute to go in the first half. Shake with it from the corner, and that's good. So it's 29-22. Maxey from deep. Nope. Curry with it on the move. Flips it back to Embiid, who slides it to Danny Green. Slot three, front ribbon off, no. And again, coming up, we'll hear from Lauren Rosen. She sat down with Bluecoats' new head coach, Kobe Carl, who's the son of longtime NBA coach George Carl. Kobe coaching in the G League previously with the South Bay Lakers. 7 seconds to go here. 7-point lead for Maxey and company. And a step back shot on Niang out front, and good at the first half buzzer. Well done by Tyrese Maxey. So I don't think it's going to be a lengthy break, but that basket by Maxey makes it a 9-point game. And again, we're going to delve into the Kobe Carl interview with Lauren. And
the blue team with the lead, but the white team, Showtime, Seth Curry and Joel Embiid off the backboard. Curry to Embiid, 31-22, blue in the blue-white scrimmage at halftime.
Kobe, Carl, first of all, congratulations on the new position. Tell me why you're excited about this new position. What's motivating you going into the season?
Well, I love to coach. I love the game of basketball. I love being around young men who are trying to live out their dreams and, affect their families in a positive manner. So all those things, being away from it for about 18 months during the pandemic, I didn't get a coach during that time. So I'm just really excited to be part of basketball again.
And of course, you've been embedded with the Sixers throughout training camp. How important is the relationship now for you to maintain between the Sixers and the Bluecoats as the season goes along?
No, absolutely. I think that was one of the questions on the interview that I had for Doc and all the guys that were on the interview was, will I be part of it at a higher level? And not necessarily to coach those NBA guys because they got plenty of guys that are going to help those guys out, but I think it just makes things more special when you're connected. And that goes for our culture that we're going to create here with the marketing team and with the front office and the fans and the community. So I think that stuff matters.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Tyrese Maxey getting a jumper to go at the end of the first half. 31-22 here at the Blue-White Scrimmage presented by Ticketmaster. 31-22 in favor of the blue team. Matt Murphy and Tom McGinnis here with you. Lauren Rosen catching up with new Bluecoats head coach Kobe Carl at halftime. As you said, son of George Carl, Tom, and taking over a guy that's been in the G League a while. You mentioned the son of George Carl, a Pennsylvania native, and the Sixers coach Doc Rivers near George Carl on the all-time wins list when it comes to NBA head coaches. In fact, Doc second among active head coaches, 10th overall. George Carl, the father of Kobe, 1,175 wins in his career, has him 6th all-time. So certainly some good pedigree there.
George actually coached in the G League, what at the time was called the CBA, and very successful. This would have been after he coached in the NBA with Cleveland, and after a stint overseas with Real Madrid, he came back and coached the Albany Patroons, and they went 50-6.
Wow.
So his dad had time in the minor leagues as well, and of course, just like so many, looking to, one day get that call up to be, in his case, a head coach, I would think, in the NBA.
He had an 8-year career, Kobe did, as a player, including some time in the G League as a player. When it came to his NBA playing career, he spent time with the Lakers, the Cavaliers, the Golden State Warriors, and his staff in Delaware this year will be J.P. Clark and Isaiah Fox. J.P. Clark comes over from the LA Clippers organization, whereas Isaiah Fox, it's a second stint in Delaware. He was on the staff 2 seasons ago prior to the bubble, and the assistant GM of the club, none other than Jameer Nelson. So a lot of familiar faces around the field house these days ahead of their season starting in early November on November 6th right here against the Long Island Nets.
Yep, and the season right around the corner. As I mentioned, the Sixers will play Brooklyn Monday, and that will be a precursor to the home opener at the Center in South Philadelphia, and that would be October 22nd. So 2 weeks from yesterday, when they play host to Brooklyn, the Nets a winner in their preseason game with Milwaukee last night at Barclays Center, and some very impressive performances. So it'll be interesting to see Brooklyn come to town as the Sixers prep for the 21-22 NBA season, as the NBA calendar kind of getting back on track. And I'm sure you've seen this on social media, but there was that picture in the NBA Finals or the NBA playoffs where Jimmy Butler was leaning over one of the electric signs in the bubble, and that was 1 year ago, but 2 seasons ago. So it shows you how wacky the time schedule had been over the pandemic.
It got on us quickly, but it should be an exciting start to the year. Brooklyn coming up in the preseason and in the regular season with those New Orleans road game and then the Brooklyn home opener on the 22nd. A team that a lot of people have their eyes on this year will be in Philadelphia a couple times early in this season. Back to Kobe Carl for a second, Tom, because we have something in common. He's not just a coach, he's a podcaster like me and you. You have Tom's Talks on the 76ers Podcast Network. Myself and Lauren Rosen involved with some of our other shows like 76ers Insiders. Kobe Carl, the curious leader with Kobe Carl. South Bay Lakers didn't go to the bubble. He wasn't coaching for 18 months, and he started interviewing people about leadership, including Phil Jackson, who he played for at one point, and he is a podcast host.
Wow, I have to check it out. So we return to the second half. Again, the score is 31-22. The blue team will lead. Niang with a baseline shot. Tightens the gap a little bit. Maxey with Reed, Drummond, Springer. And the white team headed up by Shake Milton out top, along with Charles Bassey. And here's Joe with a shot from the corner, and that's good.
He stays cooking. Isaiah Joe riding the highs of the start of his preseason. 18-point game, 15-point game, and he's made a handful of threes in this one.
Milton from the wing, and that's good for three. The other two members of the white team, Aaron Henry, the rookie out of Michigan State, and Shaq Harrison, who would be in his fourth NBA season. Maxey on a drive. Bassey got a hand on it. Niang ahead to Shaq Harrison, the lefty out of Tulsa. Swirls with a dribble back out to Milton. It's a 7-point game. Shake into the lane. Niang, step back shot good. George Niang makes it a 5-point game, as close as it's been since the early minutes.
Doing it inside the arc as well, despite nearly 300 of his attempts with Utah last season coming from, of his 400 from beyond the arc.
Contact out front with the big men. Bassey fouls Drummond. A rare whistle. And the Sixers blue team will inbound on the side again. Today's blue-white scrimmage presented by Ticketmaster. Maxey with a high-arcing shot, rebounded by Drummond. Power dribble, goes back up, jams it. And I'm going to see if they count the bucket. And they do, I believe. So Andre Drummond, very powerful, will go. Murphy got the two mascots, Cody and Franklin.
Good friends, those two.
Hanging out.
Cody, the Blue Coats, Blue Horse mascot, and Franklin, of course, the Sixers mascot, opposite end of Drummond's missed free throw.
Missed by Drummond, 7-point game. Blue has led pretty much throughout. George Niang into the lane. Bassey, great catch and a two-hand jam. Good feed by George Niang.
Charles Bassey, a really interesting story. Discovered in Nigeria selling chicken on the side of the road, was a soccer player, and his future basketball coach asked him to come out for basketball as he sends Isaiah Joe's shot away.
Very athletic player from what we can tell early on.
Discovered at 13 years old. He actually, his pre-draft training was here in Philadelphia, shares a trainer with Joel Embiid, Drew Hanlon.
Maxey on the perimeter, foul by Shaq Harrison, side out of bounds. So the team opened training camp, what will be 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, and got right into action as they last week went to Toronto Monday, lost 123-107 to the Raptors, but came back and played convincingly Thursday at the center to split the two games with the Raps. Reed into the lane, jump stop, up fake, back to Drummond, and down the lane, Drummond. Reach-in foul, though, on Bassey.
Andre Drummond is only 28 years old as of August, despite having been in the league so long, which is quite interesting. Came in as a youngster at 18 out of UConn.
Last year with the Lakers and Cleveland. He's on a veteran's minimum contract.
He did make a three in the first half, despite being 0 for 8 from three last season in the NBA. A lot of deep threes have been thrown up in this one. The coaches aren't really going to get on them from shooting from the parking lot in this setting.
Drummond with the free throws. So it's a 7-point game with 7.5 to go in our second half. Milton bounces down to Bassey, awfully difficult for a big guy to gather that ball in the lane. Off the bounce, missed by Joe, tap out. by Niang. Tap out, and here comes the blue team. Drummond. Paul Reed has it blocked by Harrison from behind. And we get a whistle in transition. 38-31. The blue team with a lead.
Shaq Harrison making that block. Prides himself on his defense and makes a big defensive play there before the timeout.
So Sam Cassell, who was talked about for certainly the Washington job during the most recent off-season, longtime assistant with Coach Doc Rivers, including a stop in Los Angeles. Great player in the NBA. Was part of that Milwaukee contingent that played against the Sixers in the 2001 Eastern Conference Finals.
Super valuable to have someone like Sam Cassell, especially for a team with a lot of young guards in the huddle right now. I mean, Shake Milton among those players. And when it comes to the Sixers this preseason, Shake Milton started a game, Tyrese Maxey has started a game, and Sam Cassell is coaching those guys and others in the backcourt, coaching them up every step of the way as the lineup has alternated through the first 2 preseason games.
So we haven't seen a lot of timeouts. This is the first one. But in that it's game-like conditions, although, not the most heated of competitions, as we've seen in practice over time, sometimes you're going to find where there will be some timeouts here down the stretch just to see how guys execute. And we may see that a little bit more as we move into the final 7 minutes of this scrimmage here this afternoon.
Especially with very little time left in the half, maybe some end of quarter, end of game type plays, sideline out of bounds and such.
So let's see what Cassell, they got a basket earlier in the game when they did call timeout. And they go to Niang, and his shot is a little bit wide. So nothing there. 38-31. Korkmaz will handle the ball. Furkan was a free agent, re-signed with the Sixers. Paul Reed, Springer, Joe, and Drummond. And Andre, one-on-one move with Bassey, spins. Bassey right there, off the back, and dunked by Paul Reed. Caught it off the flange and in. 5-point game.
B-Ball Paul says he not only wants to help the Sixers to a championship this year, one of his other goals is to make the Rising Stars game. Rookie-sophomore action.
Certainly a good resume in the professional days so far, right?
He has won basically everything you can win in the G League. MVP, Rookie of the Year, First Team All-G League, All-Rookie Team, All-Defensive Team. The list goes on and on for Paul Reed.
I was saying the other night on the radio, he's going to get into a game and his energy is going to help swing the momentum. And then you start to get a little bit more time. You never know. I mean, right now he's not part of the first 10-man rotation, but you never know.
For this game, he jumped into the 10-man rotation with Tobias Harris not playing, so he did start in this contest for one of the 2 sides, but trying to crack that 10 for sure.
Grabs the rebound, pulls it down, and advances it to Drummond. Drummond down the lane, and that's good. 5:35 to go. That makes it a 9-point game, actually an 11-point game at 42-31. Niang bottled up there defensively by Isaiah Joe, but a foul. And Sixers fans are going to love George Niang.
And on the other side of that matchup just then, I've really been impressed, Tom, with Isaiah Joe's defense as well. You can talk about the three-point shooting, but because he's a little bit on the lighter side in terms of his weight, to put it mildly, I think his defense is slightly underrated. He has very active hands and has already had 5 steals through the first 2 preseason games.
This by the white team. Blue on the move with Paul Reed. Doc Rivers talks about his defense, and that's probably what matters most. A lot of contact. Finally get a whistle and a foul there. Bassey will be called for the foul. Bassey out of Western Kentucky.
The Hilltoppers.
Korkmaz will play in. And 5 minutes now to go in today's blue-white scrimmage. Glad you could be with us. Reed off the glass.
we talk about Paul Reed and his accolades after he won MVP, Daryl Morey, the president of basketball operations for the 76ers, said that Paul has proven himself at every level so far, and he expects the NBA to be next.
Aaron Henry making a move. Top of the key. Nice shot there by Henry.
As a lefty myself, I like to see a pair of left-handers on the white team, Shaq Harrison as well as Aaron Henry, who knocked that down, shoot with the left hand. Henry will be on a two-way contract, playing some of his games in this building this season for the Delaware Blue Coats.
Harrison with a lob, a little bit too forward or advanced, if you will, for Henry to be able to gather it in. Isaiah Joe trying to pay dividends at the other end. Reed with the rebound, knocked away, but a whistle and a foul on Harrison. 4 minutes straight up to go in a 44-33 game. Mentioned Cassell, Dan Burke seated alongside Doc Rivers. Burke heads up the defense in his second year with the Sixers. Dave Yeager, a former NBA head coach in Sacramento and Memphis, works with the offense. Jamie Young, a new staffer, longtime Boston Celtics assistant coach, now part of the group. Some of the coaching staff here this afternoon.
And a coaching staff that likes a lot of the young players that are on the court right now here in the Blue-White Scrimmage presented by Ticketmaster. Doc Rivers said that it's the best working young group that he's had in his 21 years, and the guy at the line, Paul Reed, is a big part of that. Guys that get in early, stay late, and are just willing to put in extra work. Doc was impressed last year with those rookies who are now second-year players.
Baskets, foul shots, good by Paul Reed, 46-33. The lead was just down to 5, so nice little spurt as Maxey converts. He's got that floater down.
The blue team's trying to put this one away. Closing time here at the field house. See if they can get that lead back up to where it just was.
Jaden Springer to Drummond. Well done off the bounce. Underhand scoop, alley-oop. Interesting to see Springer and what he can do. Rookie out of Tennessee, the 28th pick by the Sixers.
A couple weeks back, he turned 19 years old.
Wow. Bassey keeps it alive, battling with Drummond. Here's Aaron Henry, played for Tom Izzo in East Lansing with the Spartans. Korkmaz is able to come up with it. Oh, man, there's B-Ball Paul.
B-Ball Paul, one of those guys who, even if there's no one under the rim, he might hang up there a little bit longer from time to time.
Henry with the underhand play. No, but a dunk by Bassey. 13-point game. Great afternoon. Great opportunity for the fans to see the Sixers, as you say, Murph, up close and personal here.
A cup of Joe, 3-ball Isaiah Joe. We don't have exact stats, Tom, but he's right on his pace of 3-point attempts. I'd put him at 8 threes attempted and 3 or 4 makes this afternoon.
And Harrison into the lane. So officially 53-39. Korkmaz into the lane. Nice shot by Furkan. Minute 50 to go. That pushes the lead to 16. And again, it had gotten to 5 twice here in the second 10 minutes. Drummond with a steal, Drummond with the ball, and Andre Drummond with a layup.
Maybe we won't see those end-of-game timeouts called after all.
Good point. Here's George Niang from 3, and that's good. Dribble pull-up at the 3-point arc.
Here at the home of the Blue Coats, we've talked about the G League a little bit. Niang, one of 9 of the 14 non-rookies in this game with G League experience, formerly on a 2-way contract himself a few years back.
So Paul Reed able to cruise in there for the layup. Minute to go, 19-point game. Harrison on the move, bumped, and he's going to go to the line. In
fact, 53% of all NBA players at the end of last season had G League experience, a testament to the growth of the league, and to have a facility like this in Delaware. We talked about the distance between the Sixers and the Bluecoats, and to have facilities like this is extremely valuable for those players who do hone their games at this level.
Even a number of players in the finals.
Yep.
With G League experience between Phoenix and Milwaukee.
And Tyrese Maxey said that players with journeys, quote, like Danny Green, inspire them to really work on their game, because Danny Green, a little further back, he did the same route through the G League, then the D League.
So 59-43, Korkmaz to Paul Reed, lob to Drummond, and Drummond comes down with a right-hand alley-oop. Harrison to Maxey. Maxey in the end throws it off the glass. Not exactly what he was looking for. 25 seconds ago is Korkmaz with the alley-oop jam. But the fans love this, huh?
The fans loved Furkan Korkmaz's workout video that he posted this summer as Harrison lays it in. But Furkan with a intense hype video with some Western music.
Jaden Springer given a clear path, and he shows his athleticism. Might get a little post-game address by the coach as time expires. It'll end up being a 20-point game, 65-45, as the fans treated to some great high-flying athletic hoops here at the Fieldhouse in Wilmington.
65 points for the blue team in the 20-point win. Isaiah Joe with a handful of threes. Paul Reed putting on a show. Furkan Korkmaz and Andre Drummond doing their thing. The blue team victorious, but both sides putting on that show this afternoon, just intensifying the excitement for the new NBA season.
Here's the coach of the coach, Kobe Carl.
Kobe Carl, the new head coach of the Delaware Bluecoats, the 76ers G League affiliate, which will open up on November 6th in this building, Chase Fieldhouse, against the Long Island Nets. Now the crowd on their feet as Joel Embiid is getting set to toss a basketball into the crowd. Maybe we'll get our hands on this one. Short.
Good job by Joe.
I should have known he was going to kick it and not throw it after all, but I think that's going to be the exclamation point on this one today. A fun blue-white scrimmage here at Chase Fieldhouse. Some, as you said, high-flying action. The blue team with a 65-45 win in this one. What stood out to me was the distance on some of the threes. They were letting it fly all afternoon here in Wilmington.
And the alley-oops, any number of slam dunks in today's game as these guys treating the fans back and forth in a 25-point win, 65-45, the final.
And the beauty of it is we get Here They Come, the song afterwards, because either way the Sixers were going to win today.
Well, glad you could take it.